Yeah, hi there. These comments are for SK, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And you completed my independent writing practice test number 38. Now, this particular practice test, if you look into the syllabus under the writing area, this is 20% of your overall grade, as you know. Now, if I were you, I gave you 2 hours to complete this. I think it would have been a better idea had you spent more time putting this particular essay together. So overall, you spent 34 minutes and 15 seconds writing this essay. And what I want to do now is to take a look at your writing and your score. So you start off with a hook. You have Kid Rock said, athletes and musicians make astronomical amounts of money. People get paid $100 million to throw a baseball. Shouldn't we all take less and pass some of that money on to others? Think about firefighters, teachers, and policemen. We should celebrate people that are intellectually smart. Okay, we'll keep that word. And here instead of and, you want to say who. It's going to be better there. So we should celebrate people that are intellectually smart who try to make the world a better place. I think that is true. Today, their salaries are so these entertainers' salaries are, you say bubble up, but that's not the right word. You want to say inflated. Inflated is how we use that. So they should not be paid such large amounts of money. Now here's the problem with your first paragraph. So you talk about making astronomical amounts of money, right? But then in the topic sentence you also say they earn astronomical amounts of money. So you're still with that big idea, but when you get to your body paragraph, you should have a more specific point. It should be developing ideas on a deeper layer. So if you said this, more money should be allocated to other professions, which is being paid to these athletes and musicians. Now if you said that, now we have a more specific idea here. Let's compare. So what we're doing is trying to give a more specific point here that's more specific than what you've said here. This is generally what you want to do, SK in writing. So in the thesis, you have a main idea. Then when you move to a paragraph, you have a support idea, and then within the paragraph, you have your details. So you're writing really in just main ideas. You're not really giving the support and the detail information. So your writing, simply put, is just not very developed. But if we recast this topic sentence and say, first, today, more money should be allocated to other professions instead of being paid to these athletes and musicians that earn astronomical amounts of money. And then you can get to your detail information, such as police officers, firefighters, doctors, and so on. Right? So this paragraph needs to be developed a lot more than it is, and it begins with a more specific topic statement, the one that I just gave you an example here. So then the next idea, and I'm not even sure what you're trying to argue here, you say athletes and entertainers are made by TV shows, so many young people build kettles in the air. Do you mean castles? That jobs must need efforts and practices, but high salaries create an illusion, so we must remedy a problem for young people. There's so much unclear ideas here. It's hard for me to figure out what it is you're trying to say. So let me just see if I can give you a topic sentence that might reflect what you're trying to say. I don't know, I'm going to say this maybe. Producers on television shows make these entertainers popular, but these high-paying workers did not work hard on their own, which is why they do not deserve such high-paying. How about they do not deserve such high incomes? Maybe. Now here's the key. Once you make a statement like this, these are some examples. I'm trying to give you examples of how you can rewrite your topic sentence so that it is a little more sharply focused. Then it's easier for you to find details. Let's do this one too. Make this one in red. So now you have that. Once you make a statement like this, then you want to take maybe between 50 and 100 words explaining why you believe this to be true. So you need a lot more development under each of these topics. And because your essay is not really developed in the first place, you probably need to talk about 3 reasons, not 2. If you talk about 2 reasons, you can develop your idea a lot more than you are. Now let's take a look at what you wrote, and let me give you an idea. Right? This is what you wrote here. You definitely want to develop your ideas more than this. So let me give you an example of a paragraph from another student to show you the difference in the development of ideas. So I'm going to go to YouTube. See if I can show you this. Okay, here we go. So let's take a look at an example of development here. So let's take this particular paragraph. Okay, I just want to copy one paragraph, and let's juxtapose it, put it right next to yours, right? Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, I'm going to put this essay so we can see your essay right here. You see that? Now let's compare that with this one. This essay scored a lot higher. Actually, I gave it 91%. This is what I'm talking about here. So this student has a lot more development in those 2 paragraphs, therefore will get a higher score. So let me give you an idea here. So let's read this. So it says here, some people might argue that it is not justifiable for celebrities to earn an astronomical salary because their salaries are not comparable to their efforts and time. However, contrary to the opinion, I firmly believe that they deserve a high salary. The underlying reason behind this is that they're able to feel happier and improve the economy. So here's the first support point. First of all, celebrities enable people to have an enjoyable time. An important reason is that the majority of celebrities can provide a wide variety of entertainments by using their talents and abilities. To be specific, athletes can offer great satisfaction by showing their exceptional performance and winning a sports game. Furthermore, entertainers are able to make people feel happier by using their acting abilities or a great sense of humor in the visual media ranging from TV shows to films. This aspect helps people to relieve and cope with stress and escape from the boring and harsh everyday life that is full of work and relationship problems. For example, and this is the example I like here, it says, my friend once lived a dull and monotonous life. However, after he became absorbed in watching Sherlock Holmes, a British drama which is very popular around the world, he could spend an exciting time and blow his worries away thanks to watching the drama. That is development. That's a very good, very highly developed paragraph. That's going to score higher than what you've done here. You're just not developing ideas enough so that we can really understand the argument that you're trying to make. Now my recommendation for you is, and let me actually give you a score now. Your score on this particular practice test based on what you've done, let's take a look here. I don't think you'll score in the three range here. So I'm going to put you in the 2 range. You have, as I pointed out, limited development of ideas as they relate to the topic and task, inadequate organization and or connection of ideas, inappropriate lack of details, examples to support generalizations. You have some problems with word choice and some problems with sentence structure, but the main thing is your organization and your development. So what do? I would recommend for you I do have some lessons that you can focus on to help improve both your writing, I think, and your vocabulary. My first recommendation for you is vocabulary lesson number 3. That's really the main one. Now, I also recommend that you take a look at it's actually in the speaking part of my course, but it's very important for your organization. Take a look at speaking lesson number 7. It will give you some good tips on how to more coherently organize your ideas. And that's probably a pretty good start. So vocabulary lesson 3, there's about 200 words there. Learn those words. That's going to give you better vocabulary. And then also, that helps you with things like this. So you say bubble up, I say inflated. So you're not sure how to use the more advanced words. You use a very basic word, but it doesn't really work in terms of the sentence that you have. Right? So if you take a look at vocabulary lesson 3, speaking lesson number 7, that's a great start, and I think that will definitely get you moving in the right direction. So your score here, let's go back to the rubrics one more time. I'm going to put you at about 2.0 out of 5. That's going to give you 14 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. Now, for the purposes of our class, let's take a look at, so remember this is a 20-pointer, so let's say 2.0, that's going to put you at 64% on this particular assignment. So for college level writing, unfortunately your essay is not there yet. You have to make some improvements with both your vocabulary and also your organization, and especially with vocabulary. You want to develop your ideas a lot more than you're doing. Alright, anyway, thank you very much for completing the assignment, and I look forward to reading your next writing practice test. Now, by the way, if you want, we have a few weeks between now and the writing final exam. If you want to take additional writing practice tests at my website, and they will not be graded, I mean, they'll be graded, but they will not count as part of your grade in my class. So if you want to do some practice, you can practice as many writing practice tests as you like. You now know how to do it. You just go to the writing section of my course, you click on a writing practice test, and once you complete it, send me an email, and I will make sure that my teaching assistant grades all those practice tests that you submit in a timely manner. Remember, practice makes perfect. So if you do maybe 4 or 5 writing practice tests between now and the final exam, you'll be a lot better prepared for that final exam.